Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream. And Graham Potter's boys still remain unbeaten, but a disappointing goalless draw against Brentford last night in the Premier League was not quite the result we were looking for. Obviously, you can't win them all, but it's disappointing. And these are the sort of games that you've got to win if you want to finish in the top four. You want to finish as high up the table as you possibly can. And it was frustrating to see us not come away with the 3 points, but there was a chance to rest key players, and we saw impact from the bench. Front line was poor. Going forward, we were really disappointing. But all in all, I think a point is decent, but a point's only decent for me if we then beat United on Saturday. That's the big thing. That there were some positives, but there were also a lot of kind of negatives and a lot of things that didn't look so good. But Pys, thanks for coming as always, bro. Delighted to have you on. Having kind of had a little bit of time to digest the game, what were your thoughts on it? Do you see that as kind of 2 points dropped or one gained?
I think it was 2 points dropped, to be honest. I actually expected Brentford to be a lot better than they was. I know they had chances, but I think as the game went on, I think sort of 60 minutes onwards, Brentford were kind of penned in their own box and couldn't get out their own half. We had all of the ball, we had chances, and I think we could have done a lot better in the attacking phase, to be fair. And the first half, we've started games really fast under Graham Potter, but this was the sort of first game where I thought it was more like a Tuchel type performance where we wasn't moving the ball fast enough, and we wasn't doing so good. But yeah, I do agree. I think this is only really a useful point if we beat Manchester United. They're 1 point behind us now, so it's going to be a really, really big game on Saturday. And of course, we haven't beaten them, I think, since 2017. So they're quite the bogey team for us.
No, they certainly are, mate. I mean, I guess positives from last night, the fact that, again, we kept a clean sheet. I know that's very much down to Kepa, but the defence did their part. I thought Trevor Chalobah had a very good game. Been really impressed with him recently. And that back line in general, the fact that we got to rest players as well. Aubameyang well rested, Mount getting a bit of rest, Silva well rested. So there are positives there. I mean, I know that it was kind of slim pickings. Did you take any positives out from last night from what you saw on the pitch? I mean, I guess for me, the way that Graham Potter's subs made an impact, and just the way that he uses the bench in general and his use of the squad, I think, has been really impressive. And the subs tend to always have an impact more times than not when they come on. Let's start with Christian Pulisic. First of all, bro, were you surprised that he didn't start? Because when I saw the team sheet come out, I was shocked that he wasn't starting.
Yeah, I was a little bit, to be fair. I was a little bit surprised he wasn't starting. I think Pulisic could have deserved to start. I think even just recently, like off the bench and stuff, I think he could have played a bit more minutes. He played really well against Wolves, and ever since then we haven't really seen him. So I was a bit surprised. But at the same time, I think he's not doing himself any harm with his cameos he's having. They've been really good, and I think he's gonna get some regular minutes soon, I reckon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he was positive coming off the bench again. He looked lively. He's trying to make things happen. And I think, I mean, we've discussed this many times before, but he does deserve to start. But I'm not sure if he perhaps maybe has a better impact off the bench sometimes. It's a tricky one, but I do feel that he should be getting more minutes than he's currently getting under Potter. But in terms of Chukwuemeka, mate, I was really impressed with him. I like what I see. He's a big guy, physical presence. He's good on the ball. He's strong. I don't want to compare him to Loftus-Cheek, but he does remind me a little bit of Ruben. I'm not saying they're the same type of player, but they've got very similar characteristics, similar traits. I thought he was good last night. Had a couple of decent opportunities. I know they were hard to put away, but I felt he did really well, and I'm really pleased that we're seeing him. I know I found it slightly odd that Thomas Tuchel, when we signed him, was saying he's ready for the first team. We're going to use him, and then never looked like using him in a million years. But now, kind of Potter's come in, he's starting to use him, and I think, definitely from the bench, Chukwuemeka's got a role to play in the squad this season for sure. I mean, how impressed are you with him? And do you think he could be useful for us for the remainder of the season?
I think so, bro. Yeah, it's interesting you said that about Loftus-Cheek as well, because I said the same thing. I tweeted out, I think he reminded me a bit of Loftus-Cheek, the way he used his body. Really big, powerful, strong lad. Like to go on those runs, run with the ball. Used his body really well to win fouls as well. Knows his surroundings as well. I think obviously, the more minutes he plays, the more he'll improve. But yeah, really, really good signs. 15 million plus was a big outlay, but at the end of the day, I think the reporting at the time was we wanted to really sort of make sure we were the club to get him, and I think in the next couple of years he could be, a real big player for us if he continues his development.
Yeah, no, definitely, bro. I mean, he's just going. I know, obviously, Tuchel's gone now, but are you surprised that he didn't use him at all? Because I mean, you'll know better than me. Wasn't there something in the Athletic being reported today about Tuchel like not wanting to use him or something like that? What was that about?
Yeah, so they kind of said that Tuchel kind of refused to make him a first team option, but at the end of the day, there was reporting from Fabrizio Romano when we first signed him that Tuchel was actually the reason he decided to
Yeah,
come, and he felt like he could help the team and stuff. And I don't really know what to believe. To be fair, I just remember going back to that quote that Tuchel said. I can't remember what game it was, but he had Chukwuemeka and Gilmore on the bench, and I think a couple of midfielders got injured, and he said there was no one else to bring on. So I think
oh
that was
yeah, no,
quite
I do
harsh.
remember that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
so
little bit.
yeah, that kind of sways me towards believing the Athletic a little bit more. But at the end of the day, who really knows what's going on? Who really knows who's feeding the Athletic information and what they're saying? They're one of the biggest outlets in the world. They've got a lot of subscribers
Yeah,
that read their articles, and at the end of the day, it's probably in. I'm not saying it is true, but it is in Bowley's best interest to sort of do as much as he can to kind of, I guess, back the decision to sort of get
yeah,
rid of him type thing, even though it's quite harsh. But we do see it a lot. You get a lot of briefs when managers get sacked. Oh, he did this wrong, he did that wrong, we
yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't like that, right? So who really knows if half it's true. But yeah, I think Chelsea fans are a bit more open-minded about this stuff, because I think we deal with this shit all the time. Like, how many stories does there come out per year around Chelsea? There's hundreds. And
Oh mate, loads.
so yeah, we know we can interpret things and decide for ourselves whether we think it's true.
Yeah, no. To be honest, I'm more inclined to side with the Athletic on this one. I think Tuchel's one of them that he's not anti-youth or anything, but he's not someone for me that's likely to use young players or kind of take a gamble by chucking them on. It's just not really in his DNA and in his makeup, and I don't think he thinks he can win straight away by using those sorts of players. But Potter comes in, he's got a different approach, he's got a different way of managing, and he likes to trust young players. So I think for Gallagher, for Chukwuemeka, and for others, it's a massive plus. I mean, in terms of the lineup last night, mate, we did anything surprise you? Were you surprised to see us go with a 5? I was saying I would have preferred to have gone with a 4, just because it gives us a few more options in the midfield, a few more options to rotate. Because by shifting Ruben out to right wing back, we essentially had to play kind of Jorginho again. I know he started on the bench, but we haven't got many midfield options there, and we're kind of one injury in midfield away from almost a disaster. Obviously it's a big plus that Gallagher wasn't an injury; he was just feeling unwell, so that's a real big positive. But were you surprised to see us go with a 5? I know we kind of swapped, but it was set up as a 5 to begin with. I felt it would have been better to go with a 4 with what was available.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know though. I think Brentford's quite a tough away game, and I think maybe going from a 3 from the off was quite a smart decision. But I think as the game went on, I think we certainly, well, we brought on attackers, but I feel like we left the subs a bit too late. Like, for me personally, at half time I would have took Havertz off because I thought he was really
Yeah,
bad. Um, and I would have just gone more attacking. I felt like the game was really there to be won for a long time, and the fact that we kind of sat back, or not sat back, but like kind of sort of, I don't know, like I felt like we just, like, there was a lack of like intensity or intent to win the game. Like, it was just kind of thought, it was a bit like, oh yeah, we'll just pass the ball around, we'll eventually get chances. Like, there's only like 2 or 3 players really that I saw, fizzing balls into attack. Pulisic, for example, when he came on, the first thing he did was drive it, turn around, drive it, defense, take a shot. Yeah, it was blocked, but it was more positive than a lot of the attackers did in like 60, 70 minutes. So it's that type of thing that I was really happy with, and not so happy with others.
yeah. I mean, well, yeah, hopefully, I don't think it'll be that bad, but let's hope not. Gallagher was subbed because he was feeling sick. I mean, I respect that. He was he gave it a go, but you sort of think if you're not feeling well before kickoff, then why are you starting him? Really, it's quite a big gamble to take. If you're feeling ill, to then go and play in a Premier League game is not it's not exactly ideal, really, is it? I'm sure he wanted to play and he was desperate to play, but it might have been wise to just have not started him at all if there was going to be that situation hanging over him, because I doubt he suddenly got ill 10 minutes in. So he was obviously feeling a bit rough beforehand. So maybe it would have made sense not to play him. But I mean, you mentioned him earlier, mate, Kai Havertz. Seems to spend a lot of time talking about him. Another woeful performance last night. Again, I'm surprised he lasted 80 odd minutes, which he did. I mean, the only good thing I feel is that he's now not going to start on Saturday. So that I guess that would be a plus. But again, just offers nothing. And I'm at the point now, I've been at this point for a while, where of course I want him to do well. I'm never going to want a Chelsea player to do badly just to sort of suit a point of view that I might have. But I'm really struggling to see what he offers to this Chelsea side at all. He doesn't, when he's on the pitch, he brings nothing. He almost cost us a goal last night by being sloppy in possession. He just doesn't do anything, doesn't get involved enough, he doesn't influence the game enough. Football's not all about goals and assists, but when you're playing in the top third of the pitch and kind of essentially playing as a centre forward or as someone very close to the opposing goal, you've got to have some level of output. And he's just got nothing. He's got, I think it's 14 goals in 65 Premier League appearances. He's got the same amount of goals as Jorginho in the Premier League. I mean, this is not impressive at all from him. And this is the third season now. We're 3 seasons in, and yet no one knows what he is. No one knows what his best position is, and people are still making excuses for him. I mean, he's got to drastically fix up. Otherwise, he's got to be shipped on in the summer. We've got to send him back to the Bundesliga. I mean, have you kind of got to the point of no return with Kai, or has it still got a little bit further to go?
I'm very, very close, bro, to be honest, to kind of end it with him. I just agree. I don't know what he offers. I think, he's had 3 seasons here now. I know the first season, obviously, a little bit difficult, didn't really play in, a sort of set position. He's playing sort of really defensive kind of midfield on Lampard. But at the same time, what is his position? We've had this debate for the last 2-3 seasons, ever since he's joined, really. And yeah, I don't know what he offers. I saw a crazy stat last night. 66 Premier League games. He's created 4 big chances. That is just absolutely atrocious. I'm pretty sure in 66 games, probably Alisson's at least created a couple, and Edison. You know what I mean? It's kind of, it's pretty pathetic, to be honest with you. And I know, he's not a creator though. Well, you don't have to be a creator to get more chances created than that. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff I saw in the Bundesliga from him, really nice flicks, nice touches, nice passes. Doesn't have any of that with Chelsea. And for me, last night was just unacceptable. The lack of intensity he showed. He played like he had sandbags, mud on his boots, whatever. He played like Lukaku, bro. The German Lukaku last night. He was absolutely atrocious. He was the lack of intensity was literally disgusting. And Chelsea had the audacity to put him in the recovery photo today and on Twitter in the poll and stuff like that.
Mate,
recovering from being Brentford's best player. What is this shit? Seriously, I don't want to see him, start for a while and see. There's no way he should be playing over Pulisic. I mean, there's obviously debates about Sterling right now, but I'd much rather have Sterling on the pitch than him. I'd much rather have Mount in the attack. I'd much rather have Aubameyang, Broja. You know what I mean? I'd much rather these guys than Kai. And Kai just needs to seriously, he's got this season. Otherwise, for me, it's gone, because I think as well, everyone makes out, we've got unlimited money to spend. We do need to obviously sell some players eventually, and I think he could be one we get big money back from.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, for sure. But there's got to be a remarkable upturn in form, something that he doesn't actually look like he's capable of providing at the moment. I mean, realistically, we'd need him to get to, 10 goals, bare minimum. I can't see where he gets 10 goals from. I really can't. And do you know what the annoying thing is? He'll probably go to the World Cup and he'll end up making team at a tournament or something like that. It's, he'll go to Germany, he'll play well for Germany, and then people will suddenly think, oh, he's really good, and he comes back to the Chelsea shirt, and it's what we've seen. I mean, what's this here? It cost us 72 mil, 10 mil for off the ball work, 6. Yeah, I mean, look, he's a moments player essentially. He's given us some really important goals, but I hate it when people say that Havertz won us the Champions League. Yeah, he scored the winning goal, but he didn't win us the Champions League. It was a collective effort, and he happened to score the winning goal. So, yes, it's a great contribution from him. But to say that he won us the Champions League is, whilst it might slightly factually be correct, it doesn't take into account the bigger picture. I mean, mate, do you think now the only option is just to basically bench him and then hope that he makes a bit of an impact off the bench. I don't really think there's any other solutions to this, because you sometimes see managers keep playing players in a hope that they'll play them into form. That just isn't going to happen with Havertz, I don't think.
No, it won't. I don't even think he's been starting that much, to be fair. But it's just like when he has been starting, obviously it's been really bad. Usually it's been sort of Sterling, Mount, Aubameyang is really sort of the front three he's been going with. But for Pulisic's sake, like Pulisic, he has to play over him. And there's been plenty of times where like Havertz has come on before Broja, and I think although Broja, maybe messed up the final part of his decision making last night, there's absolutely no way Havertz should be coming on or can offer more than Broja. Broja was a nuisance to that defence last night, and on another day he probably gets a goal or assist, maybe even more. So like I can see what Broja offers in like one game of Chelsea, like 80 games or 70 games or however many Havertz has played. I can't really tell you what he offers, to be honest. Like, good movement sometimes, but that's about it, really. Like, Werner had good movement. Like, is Havertz a good dribbler? No. Is he a good passer? No. Is he a good shooter? No. Like, he's just average at so many things. And, I think the time where I really liked Havertz was obviously sort of early Tuchel, when he was playing sort of centre forward, really energetic. He was lively. He was, he wasn't quite a threat in the box with his movement and stuff. But, since then, been pretty woeful, to be honest with you, bro.
Well,
I just think,
sorry, mate. I was just saying. I said I've said a couple of times, and I got battered for it, like saying that essentially, take away the Champions League goal, and he's really no better than Timo Werner. I was getting hammered for saying that, but
it's not at all.
Honestly,
Werner's
Werner
done more than us for us.
At least Werner always gave 100% every game. And he had pace, and he was actually quite dangerous on occasions. I mean, every time Havertz gets the ball, I just feel there's just no threat whatsoever. That he's just another average player. I mean, it's mad though, because he's been so good in the Bundesliga, and people in Germany have been raving about him, and he does look a lot better when he plays for the national team. I don't know why, but he just does. But I mean, it'd be one of those where we'll sell him, and wherever he goes, he'll probably start doing really well. I just don't think. Do you think Premier League football suits him?
I mean, overall, probably not. I do think he's got it in him to play like really good, but for whatever reason, half the time he just looks really lethargic and lazy, and just I don't know. Like I don't see like where his outstanding qualities is. Like each player, if a player is overall might not be your favourite, like a Werner for me, I thought Werner was horrible technically, but he had that weapon of pace. He had that weapon of stretching defenses, running in behind, that type of thing. Even though it didn't really work in the Premier League, he still had that quality. Like he had that sort of know-how, and he actually got quite a lot of assists for Chelsea, probably more than goals or similar, I reckon, Werner. But with Havertz, it's just like what is his quality? Like, he may be average at other things, but what's the outstanding quality that he possesses? I can't name it to you.
People say he's like he's technically really good. I'm not really seeing it.
No,
I'm just not seeing it. I'm really not. But again, we'll have to see what happens with him. But under no illusions that he's got to improve, and he shouldn't be starting any of the upcoming games at all. It's as simple as that. And I do agree that Werner, would be better. Was just as good. We're getting Nkunku. I doubt how much he can provide, mate. I'm watching a lot more of Nkunku now. And I'm seeing Chelsea fans, and I have discussions with fans saying that they're kind of worried about Nkunku because it's another forward coming from the Bundesliga. Just briefly on Nkunku, he's not the same sort of player as Havertz or Werner. I think he's got a very different skill set, and one that probably transfers to Premier League football a lot better than the likes of Havertz or Werner did. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think from what I've seen, he's just way better technically. I think he's quite a tidy player. His composure and his finishing looks really, really good, to be fair. And I know people say, well, Werner scored a load of goals, but if you actually watch Leipzig, Werner missed a shit ton of chances as well. Yeah. I never forget when we had that like pre-agreement for Werner, like one of his last games. He was through a one-on-one. He just blazed it over the bar. My brother said, "Oh, he's going to be the next Torres or something." And I was like, "No, don't worry. He's really sick. Trust me." And just we know how that went. But yeah, I think Nkunku, from what I've seen, looks pretty good, to be fair. And I think he's like just more sort of, I don't know, gifted, I guess, than Havertz or Werner is what I'd probably say.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, and I think again, like Nkunku coming in is another reason for Kai. If he doesn't pick up, that he's going to find himself surplus to requirements, or he's going to find himself as a rotational option because, it's another player that comes in and has got a better all-round game, a better overall skill set. So I'm looking forward to seeing Nkunku in a Chelsea shirt next season. I mean, you touched on him earlier, maybe. We saw Brozier get his first start for the club. Really delighted to see him start. I feel he should have been getting a lot more minutes. I was really disappointed to see him only get 2 minutes at Villa, but he got a start in this game. He's got gas. I didn't realize how quick he was. Like seeing him in the flesh, obviously last night at Brentford, the guy's rapid. It was difficult for him. He didn't have an awful lot to feed off. Not too many. I think he had one opportunity. But what did you make of his performance? And do you think there's kind of promising signs there? Do you think he can have a bit of a role to play in the squad this season? Because I think he's got good finishing ability, like we saw in it with his goal against Wolves. He kind of fashioned that chance for himself. I think he's raw, but there's a lot of potential there.
100%. I think against certain sides he could be really, really good. And I think he gives us that different option as well. Like, Aubameyang is nowhere near as quick as he used to be, in my opinion. And I think with Broja, it just kind of gives you that option of like, even if it's off the bench, just kind of like playing balls down the channels, stretching teams and stuff like that. So yeah, I think he's going to be really good for us. He's still raw, but yeah, I can sense he'd be a really good player for us. And yeah, I do agree. He's very, very fast. And I didn't think his hold-up play was the greatest last night, but again, he does have that sort of, he's strong. He's just a different profile, completely different profile to what we have. So for sure, again, he should be playing miles more minutes than Havertz, in my opinion.
No, he should be
just more hungry to do well at Chelsea as well, bro. That's another thing I would say. Like, does Havertz, like, when he plays, does he really show you that kind of I really give a shit about Chelsea sort of thing? The likes of Gallagher and Broja and the Mounts and the Reece James, they all do because they're from the academy. They, what I mean, they wanna do very, very good things here. So, yeah.
I mean, taking it back to last night, mate. I mean, obviously, second game without Reece James. I know we beat Aston Villa, but the two performances without James, I've got to be honest, we've struggled. Villa, if it wasn't for a Kepa masterclass, they probably would have beaten us. And then Brentford last night, again, if it wasn't for Kepa, we probably would have lost that game. How concerned are you with the upcoming games that are a lot tougher? Obviously, United Saturday, we've got Arsenal coming to the Bridge. We go to City in the Carabao Cup. We've got difficult Champions League games coming up away at Salzburg. I mean, are you worried for us without Reece James? Because the first two games, it's been tricky and he's just completely irreplaceable. We haven't got anyone like him in the squad. We haven't got another kind of conventional backup right wing back. I mean, how worried are you about the level of performance that we've had despite not losing with him not playing? Because it just looks so much worse when he's not on the pitch.
Courseware is, arguably our best or second best player, probably with Thiago Silva. So, I mean, of course, the influence he has is absolutely massive. And, as you said, we don't really have another sort of right back, Aspi, of course, but he's old now. Loftus-Cheek, I thought did okay, but it's clearly not the same thing. There was a couple of times where down the right-hand side, even cutting in kind of like an inverted role, I thought Reece would do better here than Loftus-Cheek did with a shot or a cross and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see at the weekend. I think it's a big test against sort of Rashford, who's on really, really good form. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what we do, who we play, how we play, and try and defend against their pacey front three. But, I think we just got to get through this. And it would be nice to have a right wing back backup in the squad. Maybe buy one in January or something, because I think Reece James, as much as we love him, I know this one wasn't his fault, but he does have a tendency to pick up an injury for a month or two every single season. So I think he had one last season, didn't he? About
he did, and we rushed him back, and then he got injured again.
So yeah, we definitely need a backup, in my opinion, on that side.
No, we have to. I mean, what do you think the best solution is at the moment to get by without him? Because we've seen both times Potter going with the 5 in the 2 games. We saw him try Raheem Sterling at right wing back against Villa. We saw him use Ruben last night against Brentford. Do you think with with Reece James missing, do you think the 5? I don't want to say it becomes unplayable. Of course, it doesn't become unplayable, but I think the 4 suits us much better because, we can keep Ruben in midfield where we're already light on bodies. And then Aspie is much better in a flat 4 than he would be playing as a wing back in a 5. And then it avoids us having to play a forward at right wing back. And it just means we can play Thiago Silva and Chalobah or Thiago Silva and Chalobah or whatever. I just think a 4, extra body in midfield as well. I just think with Reece missing, a 4 just kind of suits much more what we've got. I mean, I don't know if you share those views, but I just think to combat him, I think a 4 could be better for us.
Depends on the opponent, in my opinion, bro.
Yeah.
I think a 4 against sort of, I don't really know who we've got coming up. I think
we've got
after,
Brighton away coming up. We've got Newcastle away.
Yeah, so I think, oh God, I mean, St. Maximin's going to be back for the Newcastle game, which is going to be a nightmare. But yeah, I think that, to be honest with you, like if we're talking about Man United, I'd probably play Ruben at like right wing back, just because I think, if you play Aspie there, and probably Chalobah's probably going to play right centre back, isn't he? So I think the fact that Aspie will probably get beat pretty easy and will be going forward, I don't really think Chalobah's the best defender to isolate 1v1. But I think if you have Ruben there, tell him to sort of just be balanced when going forward and defending. I think he could use his physical attributes against Rashford quite well. So yeah, I think that's something he could do or keep doing. But again, it's nothing like when we have Reece James. Like, let's be serious. Ruben, just going forward as well. Like it's like Man United, you have to be so careful against them because of the counters.
Yeah.
So I don't expect loads of goals in the game at the weekend. I think we're going to have to be quite sort of not conservative because we will attack. We're at home, but we've got to be very careful. And the fact that you have to have that sort of Rashford sort of counter attacks in the back of your mind almost puts you on like a back foot already. So we'll see. Think it'll be a tight game, but I think we should keep Ruben there for this game.
Yeah, no, I think that probably is the right solution. I mean, once I get back to Kepa, mate, I mean, sort of, I can't believe the level of performances that he's churning in. Again, Villa was outstanding last night. Again, very, very good. I mean, we knew there was a good goalkeeper in there because we paid a world record fee for him. Big contract. We offered him in terms of contract length, and I think that he's on half decent money as well. Are you surprised at his level of performance since Potter's come in, or do you just think he's got confidence now? He's happy in his life off the pitch. The manager trusts him. He's playing really well. Kind of all these factors are just elevating his game.
I think so. Like what you said, though, confidence. We knew there was a good goalie in there, but we haven't seen it enough. But yeah, I think I think he's shown he deserves to start at the moment. And I don't know. I do feel a bit bad for Mendy. But again, he has not played well for the last few months. I just hope it doesn't get to a point where, like, we want to sell him, all that sort of nonsense. Like, I still think, like, for me, if I'm going to be honest, I still think Mendy should be like our number one going forward. But like, Kepa's playing really well. I've been through this with Kepa so many times. It's like, I don't know. Like, usually it doesn't last too long, sort of thing. Like, I don't want to see it, but there's going to be a time where he's going to make a mistake, and then we'll see what his reaction is. If he like stays in the team, or if when he makes that mistake, that's when Mendy comes back in. Because what I can see happening is, like, as I just said, Kepa does make a mistake or has a bad game. Potter's like, right, he's going to think, right, this is Mendy's chance to come and show me what he can do. And then I think Mendy's going to play really well again. Then I think we won't see Kepa again. That's just what I think is going to happen. But I could be completely wrong. Kepa could keep this up, or Potter could just stick with him when he has that bad game, because he's not going to remain invincible forever. Like,
no,
he's playing really well, but there's going to be a game, where we might just have a shit game and concede 2 or 3. I don't know who it will be against. I hope it doesn't happen for a while, but it's football. It is football. There will be a game where we lose.
We'll get battered in a game.
Yeah. So that will happen, and then I think he could give that opportunity to Mendy, and then that's up to Mendy. Then, like, he can't fuck that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mendy's next opportunity is obviously going to be Man City away in the Carabao Cup. And then obviously if we beat Salzburg and we've got top spots secured, then he'll probably play in that dead rubber game against Zagreb at the Bridge as well. But otherwise, like, until Kepa goes through a run of form where he warrants being dropped, Mendy's not going to get back in. I mean, but just briefly on goalkeeping position situation, a bit more like long term. Obviously, I've got to be honest. I think we've got two good goalkeepers, but I think if we're looking to challenge for Premier League titles in the next couple of years, which we should be, and that's the plan. I think the goalkeeping position is one that we could upgrade on. I just don't think, despite how well Kepa's playing and how well Mendy's done for us, I don't think they're Premier League winning goalkeepers. They don't strike me as they're not the same level as an Edison or an Allison. We look back at goalkeepers we've had over the years when we've won the title. I think it's a position we can improve in. But do you think, because there's been reports saying that Chelsea are kind of taking a bit of a look at the goalkeeping situation, and not necessarily this summer or anything like that, but in the next few windows or whatnot, do you think goalkeeper is a position that we could upgrade on? Were someone like a Jan Oblak to be attainable, is that something we should be looking at? Just as an example, do you think we can upgrade and improve in that area?
I don't know, to be honest, because I still believe in Mendy. I do believe he's a world-class goalie. I just think he's quite average with his feet. But I did, I saw apparently Graham Potter said, like, he thinks Kepa's improvement is a lot down to this new goalkeeper coach who basically made Robert Sanchez, like, really good. Ben Roberts, I think his name is, has come in. So I do want to see Mendy play for extended period of time. I don't think we should rush this decision. And I think it's one that we should look at in the future. But we also signed Slonina for like 12 million or something.
Yeah.
So, why buy him if he's not, one for the future, be our backup or whatever. So, yeah, I don't think it's a decision we should rush at all, to be honest with you.
No, I think that's fair enough, mate. Just whilst we're kind of on transfers, I just wanted to briefly touch on a couple of players. I know, like, it's ridiculous, but January will be with us before we know it, and there's constantly links with players. I want to talk about Trossard. Obviously, out of contract at the end of the season, he'll be free to negotiate with obviously foreign clubs in January. There's going to be the obvious links there because of Potter knows the player and his association with Brighton and whatnot. Trossard's done well this season, hat-trick against Liverpool at Anfield. He looks like a decent player. Is that something that you'd be keen for? Would you be keen to see Trossard come in, say in January or come in the summer? Do you think that's an area that we could do with improving? I mean, I wouldn't say it was a priority, but if Pulisic and Ziyech move on in the summer, maybe Havertz, we've got Nkunku coming in, maybe Leao might come, who knows? Do you think Trossard would fit in Chelsea? Do you think, is it someone you'd like to see here?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't think he's better than Pulisic, to be quite honest with you. I think he's a good player, but don't think he's the type of player that, I mean, maybe for squad depth, yeah, but I'm pretty sure he said he wouldn't come anyway if he was just going to be on the bench. So, for me, we should be looking at, Rafael Leao for that sort of left-sided position. But, of course, we have Sterling as well, so who knows what the plans are for the attack in the future. But he's not one that I would be massively gassed about,
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think it would just be one of them that, it ticks boxes in terms of knows the Premier League, can perform to a decent level and would be a good option to have in the squad. But I get what you're saying. I don't necessarily think he's any better than Christian Pulisic. And I don't know if it kind of moves the needle in terms of getting closer to winning a Premier League title. I'm not really sure it does that. But I mean, in terms of a midfielder, mate, do you think, I know we're looking at midfielders, and two are definitely going to come in at some point, probably this summer. Do you think a midfield player will come in January?
I think so, yeah. I do think that's one thing we will do. I don't know who it will be, but I think we will get someone, just because I think, again, Kovacic might have to have that surgery. Jorginho, Kante's out for 4 months. I think the Kante injury's probably decided it, to be fair. I think Zakaria will probably get his loan terminated. Chukwuemeka and Gallagher might sort of fend the need off a little bit, but for me, I do think we need I think we do need another player, yeah, for sure. Probably like the Jorginho position, to be fair, because I think in the sort of the more attacking position in the pivot, because we usually play that. You've got Kovacic, and even when we play a 4, Mount, Gallagher, you've got Chukwuemeka who can play midfield, Loftus-Cheek. So, yeah, I think we need a Jorginho backup, because if Jorginho's resting, like, who's going to play that deep line position? It's actually been Kovacic.
No
It's been Kovacic, and so he can't do both things, So we probably do need a defensive midfielder. I know there's been talks of, like, Edson Alvarez, but for me, I mean, I watched him for Ajax against Liverpool.
Didn't look good in that game at all at Anfield. He looked poor.
Yeah. So
particularly on the ball. He didn't look good on the ball.
Yeah, so I don't really know about him, but I reckon we'll definitely sign someone, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've got to now because, as I said, we're one injury away from having an absolute nightmare situation in midfield. Kante's already out. We're rotating basically between Ruben, Jorginho, and Kovacic. One injury there, and we've got no rotational options in the midfield. You touched on Zakaria briefly. I know we've spoken about this before, but do you think that all things indicate to him never playing for the club and he'll just be sent back to Juve in January? I just find this whole situation so strange. And I think it's definitely one we're going to be avoiding in future in terms of kind of panic signings on deadline day. But I just can't understand why, given that, we're struggling for depth in midfield anyway, we've got a lot of games coming up, why we just wouldn't even see what he could offer.
I mean, Graham Potter said he thinks his opportunities will come, but I mean,
Well,
it's
when are they coming?
probably that game against in the Champions League at home that you was mentioning,
Well, the
maybe.
Zagreb one, yeah.
Yeah, probably if we do the job against Salzburg, won't be against Man City for sure. They're too good of a team, even if they rotate. Yeah, I mean, he may get 1 or 2 games for Chelsea, but I do think he'll be terminated. Yeah.
Do you think that was a board signing then?
I don't know what it was, but it was a stupid signing, whatever it was.
It was stupid. I mean, there's an option to buy in there, and
Thank God he didn't cost us any money. Jesus Christ.
Well, no, he didn't. What? There would have been a small loan fee, but yeah, not. It's not great at all. It's disappointing because, as you say, like he was amateur in Gladbach. He was really good and he was really sought after when obviously when he left and went to Juventus. There were a lot of top teams that are interested in him. He was a really good midfield player, and it's not really happened for him at Juve. He's been injured, and then you think, oh, he comes to Chelsea, he could do something, and he's doesn't look like he's gonna get an opportunity, which is really disappointing. But I guess we move on, and we just won't make decisions like that again, and get it so wrong. But I mean, just overall, mate, what have your thoughts been of Graham Potter so far? He's been here kind of a couple months, I guess. He's had sort of 6-7 games now. Do you like what you're seeing?
Yeah, sometimes. Not every game, but most of the games I think we've played pretty well. I think the fact that he's remained undefeated is very good. I have to say, very, very good. And I think the squad's sort of positive. Morale has gone up a little bit. And look, we'll see in the future. But again, big game this Saturday.
Yeah.
Biggest game so far, in the Premier League. So let's see how we do. I mean, Man United are going to cause us problems for sure. It's how are we going to deal with that? How are we going to play an attack? These are the games you really sort of judge your squad on. The big games. Again, just the fact as well, there's like that mental block of not beating Man U in so many years. It's like if we can get past that, should be really good for the sort of next few games. So, yeah, we've drawn a couple of games now, but I think the fact that we're still undefeated has been pretty good. And yeah, certain games. I think our best game was probably the Wolves game for me. I know
we were really good.
AC Milan and stuff, but I think the Wolves game was just like with the team we put out. I was like, wow, this is really good football. I didn't expect this, and hoping we can get that from like our full team or what we're going to put out at the weekend, because I do think we can beat Man United. It's just obviously how well we play, how well we start, and just the tactics as well, bro. Like what sort of tactical plan does he have in place to beat these sides? And I guess we'll find that out.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I like what I see in it. It's early days. You could argue that there's not in the 2 Milan games. You could say we're testing fixtures, but they are ravaged by injury. Obviously, the red card in the San Siro made things a lot easier for us. Not taking anything away because we still went there and we did the business. But you'd argue that there's not been a particularly tricky game so far, which is fine. You can only beat what's in front of you. But I think there's the tough tests are coming up now. I mean, I don't want to say that United's a tough test, but it's a big game. They're improving under Ten Hag. I still think we're better than them, but they are improving. Then you go into an Arsenal side that are full of confidence, have started the season really well. We've got a cup game against City. We got tricky games coming up. So this is, I think, where the test starts. And I'm also going to be looking to see how we react as well, because eventually when we do lose a game under Potter, it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is. I mean, I would expect a reaction from the fact we dropped points last night. You'd expect to see a bit more of something on Saturday, but How important? I mean, I don't want to talk about Saturday too much, but do you think it's? Do you think this is must, even at this early stage? Do you think it's must win because you want to get the points on the board as many as you can before the World Cup. Our run after the World Cup is tough. We've got to play Liverpool twice. We've got to play City twice. We've got to go to Arsenal. We're going to have to go to United. We got a tricky run, and we're going to go to Spurs. After the World Cup, things don't get any easier for our second half of the season. So it's vital we get as many points on the board as we possibly can in the run up to the World Cup. So for you, mate, does this fall into a must win, the must win category?
I think at home, yeah. I think it does. Away game at Old Trafford a bit more difficult, but I think we. I hate that really word must win, to be honest. Because
Yeah,
it's like,
no, I
well,
know.
if we don't win, what's going to happen? Nothing,
No,
But
nothing. Yeah.
yeah, but I think it's a game that we should, really look to win. I think, and I think we'll be disappointed if we don't, just because we're at home, and I think the crowd will be behind us in this big game, and I think we have the abilities and the team to beat them. To be honest with you, bro. So I know they're a good side, but Man United they can have games where they're absolutely dog shit and their fans hate
Yeah.
them. So let's make it one of those. It's up to us. We're at home. We've got to take the authority and beat them.
Yeah, mate. Oh, we hold all the cards. Home form is something that does need to improve. That's one thing that last season was absolutely dreadful. I know we haven't lost a game at home this season. I don't think we dropped many points at home. Just the points against Spurs. We've obviously beaten Leicester. We've beaten West Ham. We've beaten Wolves at home. So home form so far has been decent this season, but we've got a lot of teams to play at home. But a concern for me is the home form against big teams in recent years. We've lost to City the last couple of seasons at home. Arsenal have come to the bridge and won the last couple of seasons. United are taking points from us there. City beat us at the bridge quite regularly at the moment. So this is going to be another big test, and one that Potter's going to have to step up and well, he doesn't step up necessarily, but the players are going to have to step up, and it's going to be really big for him if he can get a win, because as you say, for as well as we've done in recent seasons, the record against the big teams is not that great. More often than not, we're not winning that many games. I know we're winning at Emirates and stuff, but we don't tend to get too much at the likes of Old Trafford or at the Etihad. I know he won there last season, but yeah, it is going to be really tricky. But I mean, yeah, I think that seems like a good point to round out, guys. Please make sure before you leave, you smash the likes on the stream and you do subscribe to the channel as well. I'm heading towards that 2K mark, not far away now, just about a couple of hundred to go. Obviously, not expecting to get that right now, but yeah, guys, if you're tuning in now and you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel on your way out and smash the likes on the stream. Pys, thanks for your time as always, bro. Guys, make sure you follow Pys on Twitter if you're not doing so already, and check out his website as well, and then check out the merch on there as well. There's plenty of things in there. So yeah, please do check that stuff out. But yeah, from myself, I'll be back tomorrow with a preview for the Man United game. And as I said, make sure you smash the likes on the way out. Click that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And we will catch you tomorrow evening. Up the Chelsea.